Right, welcome to St Osborne Film Studies. I want to try and go through with you today what the course consists of. It's a 2-year linear course, examined at the end. It's an EduCast course, and it's the first year is being set up this year, so you'd be the second year of the course. I want to just give you an idea of what the course consists of to start with, so we'll have a look at the assessment objectives. This booklet that I'm showing you on the screen here, I'll send to Mr Wood, and he can give you copies at your school. So, here we are, assessment overview. First part of the examination, there's 2 examinations at the end of the 2-year course. Varieties of film and filmmaking examination, 2.5 hours. Hollywood, we've chosen Casablanca and Blade Runner, one old, one new film. And then we've chosen American films, No Country for Old Men and Winter's Bone, they're very new films. Okay, British film, Shaun of the Dead and Sightseers. So that's your first part of your course. Might well be completed in the year 12. Then in year 13, global filmmaking, same length of exam. This time though you've got 2 films from foreign language films, Pan's Labyrinth and City of God, a documentary film, Amy, silent cinema, Buster Keaton, and what's called an experimental film, Pulp Fiction. So those are our choices of film for the course. There's also a non-examination assessment, which is a coursework piece. And in this case here, you'd be expected actually to make a short film of 5 minutes or a screenplay for a short film. And that counts again, that's 30% of the course. It's nice to have something practical to be able to do. Right, I'll hand you over next to my next.
So Adam, why did you choose film studies?
I chose film because it fit in with my interest in acting, and if I want to do it after I leave school and go off to uni, because it helps me understand more about what makes a film, as it's more about it's not all about the acting, it's about what happens behind the scenes with the cinematography and stuff like that. It just gives me a bit more of an understanding, really.
What about the content did you find appealing?
I found our very first parts of film study very interesting, which was horror films and British independent films. Firstly because horror films are my favourite genre, so that kind of got me hooked into the subject. It was just really interesting. With the independent films, it showed me that there's more than just a few genres like horror, romance, comedy and all that stuff. There's a lot more that just goes into film, and it shows you the different types of budgets, how people make films. So with an independent, you don't have a massive studio and all that supports it. It could just be made by a couple of people. But yeah.
And other than acting in films, like you said, do you think film studies can lead you into other routes?
It can lead you into such things as just any type of media, really. Journalism, TV, film, again acting. It can even lead you to become a reviewer, picking out the little bits in the film like cinematography, sound, why props are there, what message does it give to the audience and spectators. Just a lot of open doors, really.
How has doing film studies impacted you on the way you see films now?
It's ruined my life.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I'm kidding. It hasn't ruined my life, but it's definitely made me more open to ideas in films, and it's made me pick out a lot of things I wouldn't have picked out before, because before film studies I used to just watch films for the sake of it, for the story, for the characters, for the plot and all that. But now I can look at a film and I'd just be sat there going, the sound really fits in, you know, why'd they choose that music? And it kind of gives the movie more of an effect to me than just sitting there and watching it and then going home. I can think, they used that colour for a reason, the director did this. It can help me understand a deeper message that could be in the film. But yeah, it hasn't ruined my life. It's just made me more in depth in the film, which is what I like about it. So I really enjoy the fact that it's made me like that.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, do you think the teaching has helped you want to carry on with film studies as well as the content?
No, it's terrible. Again, joking. The teacher just makes it a really fun atmosphere, and he really it makes me want to carry on with film because it's so enjoyable, and the fact that I enjoy it just makes me take in more information and understand films better, because if I didn't enjoy it then I really wouldn't care about film. But it's definitely a nice environment, and it pays off with essays and stuff like that.
Thank you.
2, 1.
Natasha and Alex, interview take 1.
So, what would a typical week in film studies look like?
I'm sorry.
So, what does a typical week in film studies look like?
A typical week in film studies basically consists of Sir introducing the topic to us in one lesson, so where he tells us the keywords and things to look out for, and then he gives us a film that we watch together, and then after watching it we analyse the film and talk about the things that we learned in the lesson before.
Alright then, and then what's the workload like in film studies?
In terms of homework, we get set essay questions to help us with the exam, sometimes documentaries to help our understanding of the more contextual side of things to help us in the exam as well, and sometimes Sir kindly emails us some documents for us to read over to help with our exams as well.
Alright then, what type of films do we watch in film studies?
We watch a variety of films, but we watch mainly films that Sir thinks will be good for us to watch. So not only like the mainstream Hollywood movies, but Academy Award-winning movies from all around the world.
And then what are the options that you can do for coursework?
For coursework last year, there were 3 main options that we could do. So you could choose a step outline, which consists of each sort of writing out, if you were to make a movie, writing out in a sort of step outline. So things like settings, lighting, etc.
Alright then, and then finally, what's been the best part of film so far?
The best part of film so far has definitely been just as a group watching films together, especially horror films, because it was a very emotional ride. People screamed, Adam. People cried, slower. And it was an exciting time for us to all be together.
Alright then.
Thank you for the interviews. What I want to do now is to give you a task to do. If you'd find this YouTube link, I want you to watch the short bit of film that it's from the opening of Virgin Suicides. The task I'm going to set you is this. Watch the opening of Virgin Suicides, and while you're watching it, what do you notice about the way it's filmed? So this is a typical film studies task. Focus on colour and lighting in particular, perhaps things you've not thought about before. How do the shots chosen make the viewer feel? Because that's really what we're looking at. What do you think the filmmaker was trying to achieve by this opening of the film? So if you now stop this film and go away and do that task, take 10, 15 minutes out of that, and then what we'll do is put an answer that we found together as a class. Start then, Shannon, what do you make of this opening piece here?
Well, the character is Lux, played by Kirsten Dunst, and she's eating an ice dolly. She's wearing a pink shirt as well, which also shows like her innocence, that she's meant to only be a child. The character's 14 throughout the film, so you're meant to be reminded and sort of told that she's only a child.
So the actual prop becomes a really important symbol.
Yeah.
And something about the music, you said?
The music is the vibraphone version of Playground Love by Air, which was written specifically for the film, and it's about childhood romance and your first love, which is very important throughout because love is a theme that goes through it, and their relationship with boys and their relationship with the boys who eventually become obsessed with these girls that kill themselves and want to know why. So it reflects on the plot a lot, as well as the innocence of everything. So
we would call that non-diegetic sound, and it actually adds great to the atmosphere. Okay, so watching. Yeah. So what do you make of this bit then, Adam?
The long white shots just kind of show what type of area this is, and you can see that it's calm and it seems like your stereotypical friendly neighbourhood. There's people walking around the streets with dogs, nice neat gardens and stuff like that. And also just really bright colours. It just makes it seem like a happy and calm place.
And the music matches it as well, doesn't it? So you've got the music matching that as well. Something about this tree. Now this tree becomes quite important then, Shannon. Tell us about the tree.
The tree is being scheduled for removal because it's dying and is infected. And effectively, if it doesn't get taken away, the rest of the trees in the neighbourhood will die. So this sort of reflects on the fact that the youngest sister kills herself and then the rest follow in her footsteps afterwards. So they're the trees are very symbolic of what happens in the film.
Okay, thank you. That calm music running through it here. And then we're going to change. Okay, when it comes to this bit here. What about this change then, Tash?
So the colours are definitely different in this one. We're suddenly not using the natural lighting in the sun and all the greens in the other shot. It's more sort of blue colours and it's a bit darker in terms of tone as well, showing that there's suddenly a disturbance. So it's normal outside, but inside there's something darker going on.
Okay, thank you. And you hear the ambulance sound there just in the background.
Cecilia was the first to go.
And then we get this shot of her in the bath. So, Alex, what do you make of that then?
I think it's supposed to be quite like spooky because she's not actually dead there, but she almost is dead. But the way it's framed, we can only just see her face and nothing else.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And the water's clearly got
Blood in it.
Blood in it. So we've actually got some idea of what's been going on. Yeah. There's the boy's reaction to it next, and then I've been taken away in the ambulance. Then this card that's dropped to Shannon, what do you make of that?
It's the Virgin Mary, and as the film goes on, you realise that the household's quite religious, but none of the other girls really seem to follow it like Cecilia did. It shows how in the Christian religion, suicide is like a sin, it's the worst thing you could do to yourself. So the fact that she has the card with her shows like her naivety almost, that she's probably scared that she's going to go to hell for taking her own life, or that something bad's going to happen to her. But it's also quite a juxtaposition because you wouldn't expect something so like religious symbolism to be at such a crime.
Yeah. No, that's quite right. We get taken away in the ambulance. And the film dwells for some time on the mother's face, clasping the blanket there to herself. So it's quite a back in the hospital, and the doctor asks rather naively,
You're not even old enough to know how bad life gets.
Obviously, Doctor, you've never been a 13-year-old girl.
and if we look then at the pause on there, Shannon, what do we make of that, her and the doctor?
That line's become sort of iconic through like the cult following of the film. You're made aware that she is so young. Like obviously you have suggestions towards it, but you don't realise that she's actually only 13 years old, and she obviously feels strongly enough about something that she wants to take her life over it.
Then again, we've got that long pause and focus on her, just on her face, and there's some sort of confidence that she's got. So that'll be typical of what we would see in those films. Then Shannon chose this one, this part for her coursework in the AS. Got a very good mark on it, and the sort of depth of focus that we've got on the film here includes most of the aesthetics that you would expect to be able to understand about the film.
Film studies.
Right on the actual.
How many it is?
Yeah, like take.
Film studies students watching Virgin Suicide clip. Take 2.
Right, so what I'm going to do now, Natasha, it would really be useful.
Right, so.
We need more!
Don't forget, who will win then?
I'm like, look at all the films he's done.
I've set here. That's still cool. It's not right. For real? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are you doing it like one long take or?
Well, that's what I'm just going to say to you. Lauren, that's up to her.
I filmed all of this secretly.